Hello, beautiful light-filled souls, and Happy New Year in 2023. I have a message for you on this January 1st of 2023. And before I give it, though, I really would like to remind you if you have the time or the ability to join my spiritual community. I love helping people make breakthroughs with theta healing, group theta healings, and just hearing from you on your spiritual journey. It's such a blessing to me to meet you in one-on-one appointments and to meet you in this group, as well as the writing group that I host. So thank you for those who have joined, and thank you for those who listen to this channel. I've neglected this channel a bit, and I'm going to get into that and also get into my message for you. My message is don't hold back on who you really are. Don't hold back too much in conversations. Don't hold back in the direction that you're going with work, and don't hold back on the things that you want to do. This is a year where, according to astrology, a lot of unlikely things can come into fruition. So, say you have a magical dream that is just sitting in a corner of your mind, and it would really give you great joy to work on that. Talk to people about it, make connections, make steps to make this flower in your life. And even if this is simple ways, it's always better to confront something in the moment than it is to let it simmer and wait. So just be who you are in the moment this year. Work on that and work on really kind of letting go of identity. And I know this sounds kind of strange, but this happened to me. Maybe it's happened to some of you in the past couple of years. Kyle Cease made a video about identity, which I really liked, and I'll link to that below. But what happened to me personally, and it was a spiritual experience, was when I was back in the classroom. I was talking to a student who was very passionate about a particular idea and focus, and this had a connection to her life and things she'd experienced. And as I was listening to her, my own focus and identity kind of crumbled in that moment. And I just saw that my new purpose was to really support the light in others, to support what it is they want to do, whether that's to be a speech therapist, whether this is to be someone who works with horses and children who have autism, whatever it is, whether it's someone who likes gardening, whether it's someone who wants to make a film about the environment and connect with other filmmakers, whatever the light is in someone and wherever that comes from. I just suddenly saw that my own identity wasn't the main focus from this point forward. I mean, it will always be a part of me. It will always be a focus, but it isn't the main thing. And I also understood that I wasn't meant to hold back, that this is the time to say what needs to be said. And there are so many thoughts over the past year that I wanted to put into short videos or just put out there, and I didn't. I love connecting with my audience. I love your questions, your feedback. And I don't know why I didn't. I just worked out or played with the dogs or went somewhere with my husband. It was just this year of kind of avoiding being out there publicly. And it's not so much being out there publicly. I really just like connection, and I like hearing from you. I like hearing your thoughts. I like hearing about what you're going through. And I think I work best off of a crowd. And that's been a painful part of the pandemic, probably for a lot of people who tell their story publicly or work as spiritual teachers. My intuition kicks in when I'm with other people, and it's a lot more fun to interact with a crowd than to simply talk to a screen. And that can be a problem. I try to keep you guys in mind when I speak, and I try to stay in that flow of knowing that, the connections that are made here are fleeting, but they can be very powerful because they poke at someone at a moment where they need it. And this happens to me with media. I don't know if you've noticed this, where maybe the angels are working through it. If you really just, instead of being annoyed by it, you just say, okay, let the right things come to me to help me on this journey. Let me find the right things that are really going to open my mind and expand my mind. So on this idea of identity crumbling, I first have to tell you what that identity is because you maybe don't know, like some of the passion behind writing Angels in the OR. Part of that passion was, and I almost hesitate to say this, but part of that passion was around being a victim of sexual assault and really wanting other people to understand what that does to a human being and how hard that is to recover from, how hard child abuse can be to recover from. That really, not that I held on to this deep victim consciousness. I did a ton of healing work throughout my life from the very beginning until now. And I think it has been overwhelming at times, and I wanted to share that with people. I wanted other people to walk a mile in my shoes, and I understood that near-death experiences were popular. And so I understood that if I begin with the near-death experience and then guided you through some of that trauma that I lived through, that you would understand that even someone who's been given all this information about healing and this connection to angels and this love of God, that that journey can still be a very physical, shocking, traumatic, horrifying journey. And uh, I just looked out at the world and all the abuse that exists there, and I thought, I've got to make people understand that this cannot continue, that we are out of balance with how we treat women, and and of course, men are abused as children and as grown men as well. It's just more common statistically, for women to experience domestic violence and rape, but it happens to men too. um, my identity was focused more around healing from that and bringing awareness to that issue and changing it in society, and it has been, for quite some time. So yes, I love talking about the near death experience, love talking about spirituality, but it was that part of my identity that kind of crumbled. Like maybe it has to do with working in healing, working as a theta healer. It's such a pleasure and such a joy to help people release some of the shame or the blocks or the shock of their past, and have more moments of openness and freedom and joy. That may be part of it. It may also be simply that there are so many important causes that that's simply just one, that the energy of love and healing for everyone, the planet, the people on it, society, that impetus of, hey, let's support the good in everyone instead of fighting amongst each other. Let's really support. It doesn't even matter what someone believes. If they're a really good photographer, it doesn't even matter what someone is doing if they are so good at working with autistic children. Who cares what kind of relationship they're in or what their religious beliefs are? Let's just support their skills. Let's support people. And I think that's why I've always loved education, because you can do that. You can support people in their gifts. You can support people in what they do well, and that's their light. This idea of love and action is important to me, because I'm going to tackle this in another video because it's such a deep question, but love and action is way more important than love as a theory, or love is something we talk about in our afterlife experiences. Love and action is staying and helping someone when you're tired. And love and action sometimes is the opposite, is taking care of yourself and not helping someone when you're tired. There are moments of choice, and whatever choice it is you're making in that moment, if you're bringing love to it and that's what you really feel is the right thing to do, and that is the right action for you. And I think too often we judge people, and we throw things into categories, and we judge way too quickly, like, oh, that's codependent, or oh, that's this, or that's that. It's better to let people have their own experience with things and to keep an open mind that what may look like something from the outside may be something quite different on the inside, and that our perceptions are just picking up a piece of reality that is far more complex and far more beautiful for the individual traveling it. And that's what also came from that moment of my identity collapsing in a way, is like, we are so many different things at different times, and that's perfectly fine. It is okay to have been a passionate activist for the environment at this point and to do something else in education around that later. It's perfectly fine to have processed some things through writing and to have been incredibly passionate about certain problems in society, and then to change and to be less passionate about it and more passionate about a good energy, a really healing energy that can come through videos, that can come through interviews, that can come through teaching, that can come to this planet in many different ways. So my message to you is, whatever it is that you're holding back on it, and you have held back on, and maybe the past couple of years, just don't hold back anymore. This is not the time to hold back. Be you.